Hi, everybody. Thank you again for joining us for another Digging a Bit Deeper. I have Tracy and Jennifer with me. Tracy is from First Centennial and Jennifer from Guild Mortgage. We're talking about today due diligence on the buyer side and what does that mean? So when I think about due diligence when we're buying, I go firsthand, I go right to you, Jennifer. What should we do to start our due diligence?
Oh, that's certainly step one. So step one for a buyer is going to be to reach out to a lender and go over the situation. But more than that, not only are you going to be supplying information on how much your income is and assets and how much down, the due diligence is to make sure you get them the documentation to support those figures. That makes your approval even stronger because we can say we verified everything instead of just, talked over the phone and got some basic numbers. So due diligence on our side is always documentation, documentation, documentation. So, and the sooner you can do that, the better. An approval is good for 4 months because that's how long a credit report is good. So even if you're not looking for another 2 months, start now. Make sure you've gotten all the paperwork in, done the due diligence, you have a solid approval letter, you're ready to go as soon as you find that house.
And I can attest to that so many times. We just have a conversation, we get excited and we go shop, and then one little thing that was forgotten about, because conversations are conversations, not running your credit, put us completely out of the game for a couple of months, not forever usually, but maybe put us in a whole different price point. And each person's FICO score is very different. It's their history of their credit, so it's very sensitive and unique to them. So it definitely, I agree, the very first place to start. Make sure that you're actually approved so you don't have a heartbreak. And right now you have to be approved to even have anyone look at your offer. So
yeah, and I take it a step further from a buyer's perspective. When you are done meeting with that lender, you need to know two important things. Well, three actually. What's your max purchase price? What's that payment going to be? And how much funds out of pocket? I'm always shocked so many times I talk to borrowers and they've met with another lender and they don't know those answers. And that blows me away because those are important answers to know before you go shop and you find your dream home. So,
and a lot of things can affect it. So if you have, this is your purchase price, but maybe in Reno compared to Dayton, the taxes are very different, and a house that's newer versus older is very different and could put your purchase price at a whole different level. Like if you have an HOA versus not. If you have an HOA fee, your purchase price no longer maybe be $350, it might be $325. So it's very, and those are the options you talk about when you're going through the due diligence state with them, right?
Right, exactly. And really that due diligence code goes further too. So it's not only the due diligence right when you start, but as you're shopping, we ask that they stay in contact with us. Give us an address of a home that you're looking at. We can break the numbers down specific to that property, include HOAs, and tell them this is your max price on that specific home. So that due diligence really goes and continues all the way through, not only on the lending side, but then title and your side. So yeah.
Yeah, things change so much from area to area now and the age of homes. So they could be, like you said, in Dayton, it's 300 and something and could be at, 300 somewhere else. So it's good to know that, but not every lender does what you do. So I think people should really look at that and make sure that they're with the right lender that's really taking that extra time to make sure that they're not going down a rabbit hole, that they're actually able to do what they need to do.
Yeah.
It is, and knowing all the options and different things they should watch out for on the due diligence is very important, because there's also on an older home insurance, and I have a couple of people that would just give you quotes all day long. Your home insurance is going to be cheaper on a new home than on an older home, and it's more expensive on a modular home than a stick built. So those are all things that could put you in the game or out of the brick game. So if you have those due diligence met, you know what you're looking for when you're going to buy. Yeah. So say we're in contract, what other kind of due diligence would there be for the buyer? Well, obviously there's inspections, and we could talk days on how much inspections you can do. Most people just think of home and pest, but there's radon inspections. There's lead-based paint inspections. There's HVAC inspection. You could go on and spend thousands for that. But say if we're in contract, Tracy, I'm going to put this one here. A lot of the times, maybe we're getting these property opening packages, and it's giving us a little history about the property. Is this something that we should kind of glance at, or should we really be?
No. When you get into contract, you've spent all this time with your lender, you found the right property with your agent, you have the right inspections going, all that going. Now you're in escrow. It's not the time to not read. So you need to read this stuff. We send out opening packages that give you a snapshot of everything that's going on, that we know it mirrors the contract. It also has, we order HOA docs that the seller pays for, but we order them. These are things that we're sending out. You're going to get a prelim, which is a snapshot of the property, anything that could be against the property. These things you need to read, especially your HOA. Your HOA docs that come in, you have to live and abide by them. So a lot of people want to just glance through. I would suggest, I know it's probably boring and some of them are thick, read through, because you might find that there's something you can't live with. And I'll give you an example. Somebody moved into a neighborhood. They could only have their RV out in front of their house for one day only. They were going on a camp trip. It was there 2 days, and already the HOA was like, you can't have it here. You can't have it here. So every time they tried to do something, they were having an issue. And that really was a hot point for them. They ended up selling and actually moving because they felt that that was petty. Whereas to somebody else, they may love it because they don't want that kind of thing out front. So it's not a matter of right and wrong. It's a matter of reading. Or let's say you always wanted to have a pink house. Your HOA docs may say you dictate what kind of color house you have, or you have to have your trash cans in before noon, or things like that. So read through everything that's in those HOA docs and make sure it's something you're going to have to live by, and that you can, because otherwise you're going to be that's going to be a stickler. And HOAs are on top of things, and they're going to come by and they're going to fine you. So read your HOAs, read your escrow instructions, look at all the stuff that comes through in your escrow instructions. Give us all the information we're asking for. A lot of times we'll be like, oh, I'll take it to escrow, I'll do this. If we're sending it, a lot of stuff we send up front, DocuSign, get in there, sign the stuff and get it back. The more information we have, the more we can be on top of it, so we can get things processed, so we're ready to go when the loan docs come in and we can make everything work with the lender. So please look at your paperwork. If you don't understand your paperwork, call. Another thing that I just going to mention is when you're putting your money into escrow, there's a lot of wire fraud going on in our industry, and has been actually in our world if you listen to the news today. So you have to be always on it. Anything that comes through that is not in a DocuSign, that's a controlled environment where you have to have a code in, do not trust it to be true. I'm not saying that you're not going to get emails from your lender, or emails from your agent, or even an email from your escrow that is not in a secure thing. But always call back to the person on a number that you already have, not a number that's within the email, and confirm. And when you go to wire, the same thing, you will have specific wiring instructions that are given to you in the beginning, either through your DocuSign or if you come in to the office. I can tell you this, I've been in the industry since the early 80s. I have never seen somebody change a wiring instruction via an email, even back when it was, well, maybe a little bit back when it was a little bit easier in the 80s, but it is not commonplace. So anytime somebody's trying to email you, text you, do something that's weird about your wire instructions, even if it looks like it's secure about your wiring instructions, you need to call the escrow officer at the number and the information she gave you in your original package, or call your agent, call your lender, any one of us. We will go, hey, wait a minute, that's a red flag, because people are losing money. There are scammers that sit in the background and they'll send out wiring instructions via email and via different avenues that, look, I've seen some of them that were people tried to do against our company, and it looks so legit. But all the little telltale signs, we get trained on this. So just be sure to question everything, especially when it comes to wiring your funds. Do not want you to lose it. And if you have wired your funds on something like that, you need to call us right away. There is a place that you can go and you can try to have your wire called back if it's within that first little 12-hour thing. Sometimes they have success. It takes a while, but a lot of times that money is long gone. So just letting you know, when it comes to wire, please check with any one of us. Do not do anything via email, via a weird phone call. Even if somebody were to call you and say something that was changed, you say, okay, you hang up, and then you call them original numbers and contacts that you have, because they are doing all kinds of stuff. So,
And we're definitely not telling you all of this to scare you from purchasing your dream home, but I think it's all of our duties to tell you guys what you should watch out for, especially on the wire fraud. We do, all of us have encrypted emails, but do you guys? So once you're in escrow, the reason they're going to find it is somewhere in the line of emails going through, there's a break in that security, and they will look for that and they'll find you. Going back to the HOA, I think it's really important. One thing I really want to stress, and I do all the time on that due diligence, is to read that HOA package, to read it a few times, and not when you're ready to go to sleep, when you're fresh in the morning having your cup of coffee, because it's one of your bundle of rights that you're giving up. When you purchase a home, a land, and you have no loan, it's free of any liens, any easements or anything, you have that whole thing that's free and clear, and you can do as you wish, as long as you're causing no harm. But if there's any other invested person or thing onto your title, that would be an HOA. And if you have a dispute with them and you do not pay them, even if your house is paid in full, they do have the right on your house, that HOA company, to foreclose on your house. Typically, that's not what they do, but over time, sure as heck, they can take your house away. But that is what you're saying you're okay with. So whether it's a full HOA, there's land maintenance associations that have some kind of say over your house, anything and everything that's in there. And they spell it out pretty black and white to scare you. If you do not want any of this, they will, that is your chance to say, you know what, I am not good. I decide I don't want that. Or, you know what, there's a lot of positives to it. In the HOA, on the golf course, the front yards are always immaculate and beautiful and clean, but also you can't put any flags out there. So there was a little, people wanted to show their support. Well, in the HOA package, you cannot put signs or like football season, different things like that. The reason for is because it does keep it very nice and clean. But if you want to do that kind of stuff, you might not want to be in an HOA because they will fine you. So that's just kind of to get you guys started, get your mind rolling on what kind of due diligence could you do. And if you're talking about land due diligence, call me. You can have a year's worth of due diligence before even purchasing. But if they want to just talk about getting started with the due diligence with you, Jennifer, on what their personal unique credit score looks like and what they can do, how would they get a hold of you and start that due diligence?
Best number is my cell always, which is 775-338-5059.
And you definitely do not have to be in contract to start the due diligence on a property that you're interested in, because I know, Tracy, you many times send me out a property profile or something that's attached to the house to get us started. We might not be able to have the whole HOA package or anything like that, but gives us quite a bit to start the due diligence process. And how would they get a hold of you if they're looking or interested in maybe a home, a land, or anything of that sort?
If you're looking for that, I'd be more than happy to give me a call at 230-0421. That's area code 775. And I can pull CC&Rs if they're attached to that property. And I can pull a property profile for you. It isn't the complete HOA package, but it is a great start. So you can look right off the bat, is this where I want to build? Or is this, if it's already a subdivision I want to live in? More than happy to do that. So please reach out.
And I want to stress that both these ladies are exactly like me. Do not feel like you're wasting their time. They want to help you before you're in contract, so you don't have a heartbreak later. So definitely, definitely. And you know me, no matter what the question, shoot me a call, 775-682-1973. And we love to help you before it's too late. So thanks again, you guys, for this week's Digging a Bit Deeper. See you next month.
Thanks, Mary. Bye, Tracy.
Bye.